Hi, everybody. I'm Sawd.
And I'm Punk.
And I'm definitely not a Popufur. You pulled your punches.
So close.
You pulled your punches. I swear to God.
Know when you were going to say I'm. So.
It's okay. One of these days, like a broken clock, we will align so perfectly. But in the meantime, I'm definitely not a Popufur. It's the podcast where every single episode we invite someone on to walk us through their journey into the furry fandom. Given that I'm so new at this, Punk has been at this for over 15 years, and everyone can have a different and unique starting place. We like taking those stories, we like capturing them, and we like sharing them. That's one of the things that we love to do. And all I can say is that our guest today, in 2016, they said, quote, "Don't interview me about the furry fandom. I will tell you nonsense. I enjoy the confusion." Well, you know what? We're going to take a risk and place our bets because this housecat has been active in the fandom for years. They are a performer. They are a musician. They are a fursuit maker. They are a car fanatic, a VR world designer, a professional goof, and a 3-time furcon guest of honor. So if you could please put your paws together for the one, the only Coopertom! Cooper,
hey.
How are you?
How's it going? I'm good. Doing good.
Cool, chill vibes over here.
I never heard all of those accomplishments in one sentence before. That was beautiful. Can you do it again? No.
Well, when the episode comes out, you can replay it as much as you want. You can make it a ringtone, baby.
You're making me sound so great.
Well, it's the kind. I gotta be so honest here. Right before we got on mic, I mentioned he's just like, I'm just a regular guy. And I'm like, the last person who said that was Cuddle Pup. But like low key, it's the kind of thing where like for so many people, and no one has cracked the code on how you can make this a full-time job. So I think for everyone else, it's just like I have regular life, then you have furry, and this is kind of like an add-on. It's a hobby. It's a thing like that. So I think it's really easy for us just to compartmentalize what we do here and just be like, oh, just pretty standard life. But to some people who look into it, the people care, like, there's people who are excited to see you. I think, and if I'm not mistaken, I think you even posted fairly recently about like, there's that weird thing that happens when people go up and they're just like, hey, you're one of the reasons I got into the fandom. And how do you even reconcile something like that? Like for real. You like give a thumbs up and say, okay, thanks. Like, I don't know what else you do.
Because I was on the other side of that when I started in the fandom, and never in a million years I would ever think I would be on the receiving end of that, because it was like, there's so many other amazing people out there. Why are you coming to me? Kind of thing. So it was never on my radar.
Right. Well, and I think that, the whole idea of this podcast is that we're supposed to talk about kind of the early days of the fandom, those people that you did look up to. But before we do that, I kind of have to ask a question. And I got to be honest, it's kind of a perennial, and it's one of my favorite perennials. And I don't know what the specific answer is, but do you remember meeting Punk?
Punk?
I went by a different name back at Dude. I used to go by Hikaru or Jack.
I think Jack sounds familiar.
Yeah, because I had my wolf suit with the red mohawk and stuff, and I remember we went to Do That Parade a few times. I was seeing you there because I used to room with Rapid and stuff. Yeah. I think like me, you, Skuro, KG hung out once or twice. Twitch during that time.
I know. This does sound familiar. Yes, I do.
I did a bunch of photo shoots too. I went the year you brought your VW bus.
Oh, that's way back. That's
yeah. We have.
We were at the Impala Inn, just kind of milling around on the balconies.
Yeah.
So wait, Punk, that photo that you sent me earlier of Rocket next to the Vita, that's a photo you took?
Yeah, I took that was my first year going, and I brought my camera, and that was my first year. I think I was like 18. It was like right after
thank God. I thought you were going to say you were 8. I'm like
8, no. Jesus. No. I was like, I think I was like right like a year after I graduated high school. So I was like 18, 19, and then like Rapid hit me up. It was like, hey, you want to go to a parade? I'm like, okay, cool. I brought my camera along. I met everyone. I just started taking photos. I still have them all on my FA. So
nothing ever leaves FA. It's great.
Nothing.
It's on there forever. Yeah, well, that's going way back. That was
Yeah.
probably maybe the second year I was in the fandom at the time, I
Like
think. Yeah.
2010 or something like that?
Yeah, like 2010, 2011.
Hmm.
Damn. Okay. Well, that's, I mean, amazing and cool. Like, I just like, because I keep, since we started this pod, like, I literally never heard of Dewdog Parade. Like, I've heard of Anthrocon, I've heard of some of the other things
It,
there,
it
but now, go ahead.
oh yeah, Doodah is not even like a furry. Well, furries go to it, but it's not like like an actual furry event, So that's mostly like if you're in the Northeast New Jersey area where the High Four group, I don't know if they're still around, but that's where Rabbit T Rabbit organized for the Doodah Parade and stuff. So yeah, like I wouldn't expect anybody to actually know what Doodah Parade is.
Yeah, the only time I think it's ever come up in pure earnest was with Yippee Coyote when he mentioned he had earned the double Doodah prize for attending both of them. There's the one in Ocean City, and then I guess the main one too, where I guess for some
Oh.
reason that is a distinction or honor or things like that. But this is still like deeply embedded in Punk's past, so that's why I kind of wanted to just posit that since that sound. Do you remember these early Doodahs at all?
It's funny because that's where everything started. That was Doodah
Oh,
was the first place I ever saw a furry. The first time I ever saw a fursuit was at the Doodah Parade.
oh,
Yeah,
damn. Okay.
it's like it's this weird. It's one of those things like where everything started, but it's like so much revolves around it, but like no one
Mhm.
really cares about it, like in the fandom. So it's like
Right.
they're like, oh, what? How'd you get started? Oh, I went to this con. I went to this. I'm like, I went to Doodah Parade, and they're like, what the hell are you talking about?
I mean, same here. That was the first time I ever went to like a furry thing and got to participate in a parade and do stuff like that. So,
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that was. Well, I mean, like it kind of segues into like the whole story of how I got started and everything. But like, yeah, it was that was the Doodah Parade was kind of like a little like weird thing for me because it was so out of my like zone because I was like I didn't really know anybody. I didn't do anything with the fandom. I was just kind of just a guy coming to check this out, and it all started because I was watching Tilt on YouTube, and I was like Tilt Longtail, and he was doing all these crazy videos, and I was like, this is the first guy I'm going to talk to in the fandom. I want to like reach out to him, so I opened a Live Journal account, and I just messaged him
Mhm.
saying, "Hey, like your videos, love what you're doing." That's all. I was like, okay, and he's like, "I'm going to Doodah. Do you want to meet me there?" And I'm like, "Oh my god, really? Like, holy crap!" So that's how that started. I went down to Doodah, and Tilt was there with Foxwell and everybody, and I was like, this is surreal because I was watching this on YouTube, and here's the guy right here. He's in Jersey right now. So yeah, it was a wild journey.
Your first furry celebrity in a way too, like right?
Yeah.
Like that's like really cool because you and Skuro started at the same time, roughly, approximately.
He started probably like a year before me, but I
Okay.
think he was more in that like hanging out with people that were furries and things that for way before I was. So yeah, he was also local in the area. And when I started meeting up with everybody, and then there was the thing called a Thursday meet in New Brunswick, New Jersey. And every Thursday we'd go up to New Brunswick and loiter in front of a Panera Bread. I don't know how they didn't kick us out. You'd go in and there was just people drawing and passing pictures around, and there was people with like plushies and stuff, and not a damn thing on the table. We didn't have no coffee, nothing. And then we'd sit there for an hour or two and then go to a restaurant and then hang out and talk and stuff like that. And that's how I met Skuro at those events. And it was like, oh, you're a cool dude. And I was just like, hey, you want to hang out like outside of these furry Thursdays? And he's like, yeah, okay. And then he was like, oh, cool. And he had a little apartment. And we hung out. That's where we made all the early green screen videos. And so
Mhm.
yeah, it just kind of snowballed from there.
Yeah, that's really cool. Number one, I do have to give a little bit of constructive feedback. They called it the Thursday meet and not the Thursday meet. The opportunity was right there.
I know
I'm
they
just
blew it. Maybe they got so
uh
tired of it. They tried it one night. You're like, guys,
yeah.
let's say Thursday.
Give us a break, please. Please, for the
It's
love
a
of
work
goodness.
night.
Yeah. Well, I guess when it comes to your journey into furry, like, like in terms of even before Doodah, I guess I have a couple questions, mainly that why should I worry? Why should I care? I may not have a dime, but I got street savoir faire.
Oh, you did your research.
It's if Go ahead. Sorry. I realize a lot of people may not know that reference, and I do not
I know what
care.
that is.
I know that
Yeah,
reference.
right. I know
Uh,
it's the best song he ever did, and I'll stand by that. I'm telling you right now.
But I mean, if you were just shooting fish in a barrel and picked that song, that's
Oh
a
my
one
God.
hell of a coincidence. Or you've done your research.
So Billy Joel, he's the reason why so many people get into being a furry. No, I'm kidding. Billy Joel did the song for the movie Oliver and Company, which was a Disney question
Yes,
mark?
it was.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was Disney,
Yeah.
and there was some weirdness with I think the because of the Billy Joel music that the
Mhm.
licensing for home video release there was some hang up, so they never released that on home video till like 1992 or 93 or something, like years after it was in theaters, and there was like no merch, there was nothing. It was like in the
Mhm.
movies and out.
Mhm.
So that it was like that's why people kind of get thrown off by that and be like, was that actually Disney? I don't remember, you know.
Right. Yeah, but I do remember at least for that song because I remember seeing that when I was super super young. But that song, why should I worry, is like just an absolute banger over there. But also you have a sassy sunglasses wearing dog moving around and like it's like the epitome of cool in that moment. Like it just feels so great. That is the best. I know there's other songs in that movie, question mark, but like I don't think they hold up the same way. I could be wrong.
Now the song where the girl is playing the piano about being in love with the cat and being together, that song sucks. Nobody cares about that song. It's all about Billy Joel.
I asking the questions. But long story short, Oliver and Company, I feel like you've cited that before. That is one of your foundational texts in terms of how you ultimately started to love anthropomorphic animals.
Yeah, yeah, it was the whole thing with Oliver and Company and seeing that and I was like, whoa, this is really cool, talking cat and everything.
Mhm.
And that also it took place in New York City, and at the time I lived up in North Jersey, like 20 minutes from New York, like right up on the other side of the Hudson. And so when I saw that movie, I was like, oh my God, that's like right there. That's across the river. Like,
Yeah.
so I had this weird, grandiose thing about, like this cat in New York City. And the idea of that was like, that's the coolest thing ever. That's what
Hmm.
amazing concept, So that's what kind of started it. And I mean, there's some other things, but yeah, that was a pretty big one.
Hmm. And then was it like just like for there you had a deep love of these characters or at least this thing, and then that eventually led you onto early iterations of the internet?
Um, it was a weird combination of things. Because
Hmm.
when I was really early, like early, really little, uh, when I was really early in existence, uh,
Yes. Beyond tadpole, something beyond that, right?
everybody describes that, right? That's I was early when
Mhm.
I was in early young
Exactly.
existence.
Yeah.
Uh,
Early bird
there,
special. That's how I describe
yeah.
my youth.
We had the Disney Channel, and this is like when they
Mm.
first started with the Disney Channel and the whole concept of like, oh, a premium, thing. Disney came out with all this original programming, and one of the things was this show called Dumbo's Flying Circus, and it was on
Mm.
really early in the morning, and I would get up and watch this, and it was live action, and so it's
Oh.
essentially fursuits. They're people in these animatronic. They're all animal characters, and so yeah, I'd watch this show, and it was like, this is mind blowing. These costumes are amazing. The performances are amazing. From a 4 year old's perspective,
Right, right, right. Yeah.
So, and there was a character called Lily, which was this cat that was a trapeze artist, and it was like the coolest character on the show. I was like, I have to watch every episode with this Lily cat. So again, a
Uh-huh.
talking cat character, and I was like, this is amazing. So it was like this, it was kind of all just like coming together.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Right. And then it's like at some point it kind of developed into a love of the fandom, but for you, the actual character of Cooper Tom, that took a little bit longer to before you decided at some point you were in the fandom and then you wanted to have a character in it, right?
Um, yeah, it was one of those things. Like I lurked in the fandom for because I found it in '99, And I
Love a
was
good
kind of
lurker.
like,
Yeah.
and I was just like, I can't, I don't want to talk to anybody. I don't know anybody. Like, this is back, like, stranger danger, don't talk to people on the internet kind of
Mm-hmm.
thing back in that
Mm-hmm.
day. So
Yeah.
I was just seeing like pictures of people going to conventions and art, and I found it through FurNation and the
Yeah.
FurNation web ring, and I was like, whoa, there's like a ton of people that are into this. This is crazy. But I didn't talk to anybody until 2009. So during that time, I was like, I'm interested in this, but I didn't have like a character or anything like that at the time. And it was just before I was like, let me, like, content, like, talk to somebody on LiveJournal. It was like, oh, and then the character was just like talking, a cat. Like, I'd like, this is everything I have is all these cat characters that I like am obsessing over, growing up. And I'm like, that's the
Mm-hmm.
obvious choice. And also, like, everyone at the time was like a wolf, a fox, a dog. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, but I was like, wow, there's not a lot of cats in here. I'm like, why isn't I would think there'd be like a ton of people that are cats, but at that time there was nothing. I mean, very, like, a handful. And I was like, all right, that's what we're going for.
Dang. That's really, really cool. I feel like I remember hearing something from you indicating that like when you were thinking about it, you were seeing way too many wolves and you were seeing way too many foxes too. And that's you're just like, well, let me do a goddamn house cat at that point.
Yeah.
The character for anyone who hasn't seen it already is I think has you're the first suit that you have for it is extremely distinct. And I remember very first seeing it, our dear friend Nova Lama, who we've had on the show before, he mentioned that early on, some of his favorite videos was there was this artist named Kex the Furry,
Mm.
and he did like a dancing music video, which kind of like showed him his love of fursuits, and then he did a video, kind of like a little music video about his time at Eurofurence 25,
Oh,
and
okay.
in that there is like several such things that happen in there, and you can see Bolt the Railway Doggo and just a couple other people, but then you are dancing, parading around, and throwing things off. But I just always remember just zooming in on those eyebrows specifically. I'm just like, no one has that. No one has those eyebrows. How, if you wouldn't mind for my edification, how did that come into being?
That was all complete artistic liberty. It
Okay.
was at the time, I wanted a cat fursuit,
Hmm.
and a lot of it was at the time, making a suit like that's really hit or miss, and it's like, and I had this in my head, and I'm like, I know what I want, I just don't see it out here. I don't know what any makers are making what I'm thinking about. And it was actually at the, I think, the first Anthrocon, the first convention I went to. Then I saw Jay in Chingado, which was a black and white, like, angry alley cat looking thing. And I was like, that's it. That's it. Like, it's something, it's that style, that look. It's like exactly what I want to go for. And it just coincidentally, Jay lived about, I don't say, 20 minutes from my work.
Oh.
So
Oh,
we
okay.
started hanging out, and and Jay is just like, I'm like, I trust you. Your designs, every character you come up with looks amazing, and your quality of work is amazing. I'm like, just go for it. Do whatever you want. Just just angry cat, and the weird thing, initially my character wasn't going to be an angry looking character, but just the way Jay pulled off that expression, I was like, okay, that's really good. I'll go with that.
Uh-huh.
So that's how it all came to be. It was all completely Jay's vision.
That's awesome, though. But it's like it's carried. It's got to kind of become iconic in its own way, which is dope to have happen. But that was your very first fursuit was specifically the Coopertom one.
No, actually, when I was going into this, at the time I'm like, I want a suit, but I don't want to spend too much right now. I don't even know if I'm going to like this, if it's going to be,
Right, 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 right.
I don't want to go all in on this. So I'm like, let me not get Cooper right away. Let me get something else. It could be anything, because if I don't like it, it will just go. The character will just go away and whatever. Just pretend like this never happened.
Mhm.
Um, so this is another weird coincidence. When I was on LiveJournal, you know, talking with Tilt, like, oh my God, he exists, and blah, 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 blah. There was another person that stood out in the crowd when I was watching some of these convention videos, and that was JD Poppy.
Mhm.
Because these videos, like, the people are in there, some of them, have waving a flag or banging a drum. And then you could see JD just bouncing in the distance. Like you could see him coming in the parade. Like he was not standing still. Like so there's this marching of fursuits, and there's like this little brown blur in the video. And eventually it's like, oh, there he is. There's that crazy dog dude. I'm like, who is this? And I went on and I found JD on LiveJournal, and I'm like, I'm going through his things, what's he do? And there's just like this random post. I don't even know why he put it out there. He was just like, oh, I got a promotion at so and so today. And I'm like, wow, that's the building across the street from where I work. And at the time I was working in Midtown, New York, in New York City. And I'm like, hey, funny thing, you said you worked here. Is that building over here? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, oh, I work across the street from you. And he's like, oh my God, cool. And I was like, still a nobody. I didn't know anybody.
Right.
And he, responded. He was like, and at the time, he was already Mr. Popufur, going around. So I was like, oh my God, JD actually responded to me. This is pretty wild. So I was explaining to him, like, this is like spring of 2009, because I'm like not doing anything I'm going to Duda and going to Anthrocon, and I want a fursuit. And I don't know. And it's like, we're talking April, and AC's in July. And I explained this to JD, and he's just like, I can make you a suit. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, I can have it in time for AC. And which is crazy because he doesn't actually make fursuits, but I'm like roughly the same height as him. And he made his own suits. So he's like, I'm just going to make one that fits me. And that like, I don't need a duct tape dummy or anything. I'll just make it for me and it will fit you. And I'm like, awesome. And again, we just sketched a little black and white dog with like a red mohawk, like I don't even know, on a napkin in Chipotle, because that's when we used to get lunch. And he's like, oh yeah, cool. And he like ended up making it in like 2 weeks. And he's like, here you go. So I went from doing nothing to getting a fursuit and going to AC in like 3 months.
That's incredible. Okay, then I have to ask the question I'm always curious about too, as someone who's not really fully had the experience yet. What was it like putting it on for the first time?
I was actually confused. Because this is another crazy thing. So there was this guy that used to live in the area called Tony Ringtail, and he used to have these barbecues and stuff in Jersey, and all the furries would get together, and they would rent like a hall, like in the firehouse or something like that. And so we were having one of these barbecues, and I said, I'll meet JD's going to be there, and I'll be there. And so I didn't know he was going to get the suit when he was going to get done. I just knew it was going to be in time for AC.
Right.
So we're talking, and all of a sudden, JD's like, hey, I need a hand in the bathroom. And I'm like, what? and I'm like,
famous last words.
Yeah, I'm like, I guess, okay, let's see what's going on. And he like snuck the suit into the bathroom, like in a duffel bag. And I go into the bathroom, he's like, here it is. And I'm like, oh, okay. Thanks. And I was not expecting to get it then. And I put it on, and I immediately put it on, and I was like, it's a surreal thing, because I'm like in this random bathroom with this man, and I'm looking at myself in a dog costume in the mirror.
Not the last time that happened for me.
Yeah,
it sounds like a David Lynch film or something.
But I was completely blown away, and I was just like, I'm gonna wear this all night. And then it dawned on me, like, these things are hot. I didn't know what I was thinking. So yeah, that was a pretty wild time.
Are you of the keeping the magic alive school, where you try not to take off your head in front of people, or
I'm always like, it's your suit, you can do whatever you want, you can wear just the feet, you can wear just it doesn't matter. I'm not like, oh my God, you're ruining the magic or anything. I mean, it has become more prevalent, people walking with their heads off, because that was like, you never did that at a convention, and it's like you're seeing it more now, and I'm like, it's not the end of the world, don't worry.
Calm down.
It's okay.
The hardcore fursuit originalists that are on online every day, right? Yeah.
But I personally don't take the head off or anything while I'm in suit. Like, you always see me like in full suit. I never partial, unless it's like a suit like Rocket, that I have Rocket Wolf, that can be a full suit or a partial. But Cooper, I rarely ever partial. Fender, I never partial. So yeah, stuff like that.
I feel like I've now seen so much footage of you dancing. I've seen footage of you like, careening, making jokes, just like doing every possible thing you could possibly do in suit and VR and like all this other stuff. But I remember I saw this post where you talked about how in like your high school and college years, you described yourself a little bit as kind of like a bit of a loner. You were someone who like, very much kept at work, did PlayStation, didn't have a whole lot of
Where
extracurricular activities.
where's your sources? These are really
He's,
good.
he's not one.
Listen, you're Coopertom. We have to know. But it's
um,
just the thing I mainly want to ask about that is because you are such an expressive and I think you distinct performer and so creative on there. It didn't seem like you had, as far as I could tell, like a theatrical background or even like kind of a filmmaking one. So I'm wondering, did that come from furry, or am I completely
no,
off
that
base?
it was a subsect of my media intake as an adolescent. Uh, so as I'm watching Dumbo's Flying Circus and watching Oliver and Company and living in that area in North Jersey, they would run the Cats musical commercial all the time on TV, like see the musical, live the magic, like all this stuff. And you'd have like the tire and all the cats going and dancing and and it's like at the Winter Garden Theater now and forever. So I would see this
It's been
commercial.
burned into your brain.
It is.
I
It's burned in my brain. I just played the whole thing in my head.
Yeah.
So keep seeing this, keep seeing this, and again, cat costumes, people in cat costumes talking, performing. And I was like, I don't know why my brain was just like, I want to see this. And my parents were like, what? And I'm like, I want to go see cats. And so my parents like reluctantly like, oh, I guess we got to go bring them to see cats, whatever. So they took me to go
The
see
hesitance.
cats.
Yeah.
Yeah, because my parents are not like theater people or anything like artistic. They're just just
Hmm.
regular 9 to 5 job kind of people. So they're not very like artsy, fartsy kind of thing. So they take me to go see cats, and they're like, "Wow, this is weird." And when I got in there, I saw like all the garbage, everything. The junkyard is all scaled up and everything, and it's like you feel really small. You're like you feel like you're cat size because everything's huge.
Hmm.
And then the lights go, and then they're running up and down the aisles, and I'm like, "This is blowing my 5-year-old mind." I'm like, "This is art," you know.
Yeah.
Um, and
I want to be
again,
Skimble
like
Shanks.
yes,
Yeah.
and so that kind of was in the back of my mind, and I got like this interest in theater, like out of and I'm not like I don't consider myself like a theater like oh did you see so and so it's never because I'm a guy I work on my
Yeah.
cars I got oil I got grease under my fingernails and I'm
Yeah.
like hey did you catch the Cats musical last week I,
Bruh.
I don't do like so I don't really fit the mold for this but for some reason as a kid watching this and so when I was in high school I was like the shop kid I was always in wood shop and I was like let me also join the theater club so I can go see all these other musicals in New York and saw Les Miserables and Phantom of the Opera and all these other things. So I had this interest in theater and I was like, I want to do something with this. But I'm like at the time, I'm like a wallflower. I'm this like shy, I'm never, gonna
Mhm.
talk to anybody, just kind of keep to myself kind of thing. But I wanted this theater thing. And so I ended up doing stagecraft, making props
Oh.
and sets and things like that. So I was like, ooh,
Oh.
I get to do some theater stuff, but like work with my hands and get all dirty. So
Yeah.
I got into stagecraft and I was like, this is really, really good. And then when I went over into college, for an elective and all this other stuff, I got back with the theater group and I was in with the stagecraft and props and things. And so the weird coincidence about this whole thing, the one year they're like, okay, we're gonna figure out what we're gonna do for this semester. We're gonna make us usually do one show or something, and then we can get to work on making stuff. And this one was like,
Hmm.
oh, it's going to be a mishmash. You can just do whatever you want. There's not going to be much set design because it's going to be like, backdrops and stuff. And I was like, oh, okay, this
Right.
is going to be like a snooze fest. But then there was these couple of girls that were like, oh, we want to do cats. And I was like, oh no. And they needed a guy. And I'm sitting there like Mr. Stagecraft man. And like, it was this involuntary reaction. My mouth was like, I'll do it. And I was like, why did I say that? Why did I say that? This is not me. I can't do this. I'm never going to be, I'm so embarrassed to even think that I do like this. And I'm like, I'm going to be part of it.
Yeah.
And so so each group did like, one or two songs from whatever show. And so I ended up doing this with these two girls. And since I already knew like the whole show in my brain, I didn't even have to rehearse it. They're like, why is this guy that we see usually holding a saw? He knows the entire, naming of cats. What's going on here? This is a prank, So I just knocked it out of the water. We made the costumes and everything. And it was, yeah. So that was like, I enjoyed it. And I was like, this is amazing. I'm finally getting to do the thing that I was like obsessing over. But at the same time, I also still felt like embarrassed about it. But it was like one of those things I'm like, oh, it's so frustrating. I like this, but it's embarrassing,
Right.
Yeah. And then that carried over after doing theater. Well, during college was improv. And because after the theater thing, I can't remember lines. I could do cats. I could remember everything about cats, but anything outside of that, because they're like, you want to do another play or another show? I'm like, no, I don't know anything. So I just can't remember lines and stuff. And I still want to do a theater thing. And that's when it carried over. So I'm like, oh my God, improv. There's no lines. You can just make it up. I'm good at making things up. Let's do this. And it just kind of went off from there. And I was doing, I was like a stand-in. I wasn't there all the time. It was like someone could make it up, jump in, and I had a blast, absolute blast. And I kind of carried that over to when I started fursuiting. I was just like, well, I can't do the silent thing. I got to talk. I drove 8 hours to get to AC. I got to talk. I can't not say anything. And I wasn't even thinking about it. The improv stuff started popping up because it's like blocks, like building blocks. You could see something, you can build off, you can make the joke, and boom, 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 you're done. And I was doing that, and people were like, oh my God, this guy's like talking, but he's also like kind of funny. Wow, that's weird. So yeah, that's how that all started, the whole talking thing. And I saw Twitch on YouTube, and he was like one of the early guys, like, ooh, he's talking, he's saying stuff. He's saying like edgy stuff. This is cool. And I saw this guy, and I'm like, damn, all right, I'd love to meet this guy. And that was another catalyst of the whole thing.
That's awesome. And then of course, obviously this fandom, kind of the perfect opportunity to, explore it. I think it was the Cats movie was the last thing I saw before lockdown and COVID. That's the last movie I saw in theaters before that happened.
Oh, poor soul.
Did you see the Cats movie?
Yeah, I did. And I went and saw it because I didn't want to. I felt weird, like, oh man, I really want to go see this, but I know nobody's going to want to go see it with me. But I don't want to be like the weird guy, like going by myself. So eventually I was like, my friend King Gord, I was like, hey, you want to go see Cats? And I think he was also like wanting to like kind of go jokingly because everyone was talking how crazy and bad it was. So we went to Buffalo Wild Wings. It's like attached to the side of the movie theater. We got drunk and we went in there and we actually had a grand old time laughing at it.
We went to, I think we got a little bit, had a little bit of something, a little bit edible something. And I remember we were laughing at it, and it sucked because there were some people at the theater that really wanted the theatrical experience. And I also was like, well, I'm sorry, you picked the wrong franchise. Taylor Swift's original song will not carry this goddamn thing. I hate to break it to you. Truly masterpiece of cinema. I do kind of have to pivot a little bit though, because I'm just kind of curious. It may not have been, and truly, it may not have been a big deal at the time. I feel like in nowadays culture, it might be a little bit stranger, but you could let me know if I'm off on this or not. Is it? Do you feel like an outlier being a straight person in the fandom at all, or does that not even cross your mind?
No, it doesn't really. I mean, it's one of those things where it's like when you come across someone else who's a straight person, you're like, oh, okay, that's a little unexpected, kind of thing. But
it's right, yes.
But it's not like the end of the world, It's like, oh, hey, okay, so I'm not the only one. That's great. How's it going? Yeah. So yeah, but it doesn't really doesn't. I don't even
factor.
It's yeah.
I have some straight friends in the fandom too, and I think they've referred to themselves as the shinies of the fandom. And I don't know if I fully agree with that, but like I understand, especially in this modern day and age, it's not as commonplace there.
We're like endangered pandas. It takes so much for us to get laid.
And so, the A and B, some of you are actual pandas too. So let's be real. Let's make sure to take care of.
You're doubly screwed if you're a straight panda, man.
Monster upon an island. like in South Park or something.
Listen, doubly screwed if you're a straight panda. I think we have our first bumper sticker for the merch store. That's all I'm saying. So
There
I'm
we
putting that
go.
out there. If you wouldn't mind, Cooper, if you wouldn't mind doing me a very kind favor and walk me through, as far as I could tell, and let me know if this is wrong, your four main characters that you play. Coopertom, Fender, which I know is technically not your character, but still,
Yeah.
Rocket, and Sheds. Can you walk us through who they are and what the differences are?
Oh, okay. Well, I'll start like the chronological order of these. So it started off with Sheds, and
Okay.
I I didn't know what I was doing with this because it was
It's Sheds with a Z for those at
yeah,
home, just
Z,
FYI.
and
Yes.
yeah. And so like, this is my first suit. Kind of, got it just kind of slapped together real quick, boom, boom, boom. And I got to AC and I had no idea like what this character is going to be like. And
Mm,
so I just kind of defaulted into this like just this really happy go lucky like Jersey guy or something. It's like, hey, that's great, cool, have an awesome time. Because I didn't know anybody at the convention, so I was
hmm
going in as this most like default, likable, high energy dog guy. So I was like,
Yes.
hey, cool, you made it too, dudes. And I was just like, that's what I was doing the whole thing, and that's kind of where that's it. There's no that's as deep as that character goes because that was like me testing the waters.
hmm
And then uh, Rocket showed up, and this it's a wolf guy, and I'm like, okay, this is like I wasn't anticipating getting a wolf costume, but this is back in the golden days of just going on to Furbid and being like, oh, here's a brand new partial for $750. Well, who cares? Let's just get that. It's not like this major financial decision that it is these
hmm
days. So
Right, right, right.
I ended up getting this wolf suit. I'm like, oh, this would be something fun to wear at AC, and I had some like really corny like clearance Hot Topic bowler shirts with like velvet buttons and all this stuff. And I was just like, let me just slap this together. I'm just gonna go wing it. And it's same thing. I got the AC and I'm like, hey, how's it going? And it was more like a definite like Jersey dad kind of guy. Uh,
Fonz based
yeah,
kind
like
of, or yeah.
Fonzie, like hey, so that's how that came to be. And then after I did this, I was like, okay, I really like doing this. Like, let me get Cooper. This is like, the second year in, and I'm like, let's start getting Cooper figured out. And then that's where Dragoneer is like, hey, do you want to be Fender? And I'm like, oh yeah, I do. So then I was like, oh, Cooper's gonna have to go on hold. We're gonna be doing Fender this year. So we got the suit made and everything, and then because when I was talking with Dragoneer, I met him at my first convention at AC because uh, again, this is a weird coincidence. There was two people local to me. Like I was like, there's no other furries around here, but there was these two other guys that live 10 minutes from my house. Really cool dudes. I became good friends with them, and they turned out to be long-term friends with Dragoneer. And they're like,
Mm.
hey, we're going to AC. We want you to meet your friend, this guy, our friend Dragoneer. And I'm like, cool. And I didn't know he actually owned FA at the time. I'm like, oh, this guy. But he's like, I like how you perform. Like that's like you saw me jumping around in Sheds, and I'm like, if you could just do this, because he knows like very friendly, very PG. He wasn't like I wasn't saying
hmm
anything like lewd or just being like, hey, blah, blah. So he's like, this is great. This high energy guy. It's just very friendly to everybody. I kind of want if you make the suit, like someone would do that. And I'm like, he's like, I can trust you to like do this type of character and not be like crazy, And I'm like, oh, awesome, yeah. And so that's how Fender is, just like Mr. Hey, nice to meet you. Like, you want a picture? Like kind of things like that. And that's as far as that, because there is no, I don't know, there's no backstory really to Fender. It's just people are like, there he is. Let's draw him. Here's the mascot.
There's
What
the guy.
what's his backstory? He used to
Hey,
wear jeans. He doesn't wear jeans anymore. Isn't that mysterious?
what a young rebel.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
then after Fender came to be, then I was like, oh, let me get Cooper, and I got Cooper, and that was amazing to me because it felt like, okay, I can do my character. It's just me, just like amped up a little bit. It's not like any other
hmm
character. It's just me, and people
Right.
like that know me. And then when I get in the suit and like we're talking about something, and he's like, damn it, like it's just you in a cat costume. You're not any different. Like you're just you. And I'm like, yeah, isn't that great? It's real easy. So that's the whole character is just like it's just me like turned up a little bit.
That's awesome. Uh, it's so funny that you jumped in. Well, actually, first off, uh, to my understanding, because obviously Coopertom, especially that outfit, as I said before, is fairly recognizable. Rocket and Sheds, are they still in rotation at all, or are they
Um,
towed
Sheds
away?
is I still have them. Sheds is balled up in the bottom of my closet, like looks like a pile of
Mhm.
dirty laundry. I have to look at it. I don't know. It's all been crushed with things, and it
Mhm.
wasn't made to be everlasting. But Rocket is the some of the foam has broken down in the muzzle
Mhm.
area, so I can't really wear it. Like it gets very floppy, and I don't want to make it worse. So I'm
Mhm.
looking eventually to maybe somehow like peel the skin off and refoam the thing and put it back together, and then I'll bring them back out again. But for now, it's just Cooper and Fender. And Fender has been held up. It's amazing. It's made by the same maker. White Wolf made
Mhm.
Rocket and Fender, and Fender is just. I got him in 2010, and I wear him like literally every convention, everything for years, and it's still like held up perfectly. The only thing, the eyes have yellowed a little bit. Like I have to
Mhm.
retro bright the eyes or something.
Is possible. Are you a good fursuit surgeon?
No, no, it's the
Okay.
weirdest thing. Like I like to work on cars, and I do like upholstery work. I have a sewing machine. I make things for car, like parts, like
Mhm.
upholstery items for cars, which I'm like, oh, fixing a fursuit be a piece of cake. And I'm just like, this is rocket science. I don't know what it is. I'll just give it to somebody to fix it. But
Yeah.
luckily, I haven't had anything major, like just like a seam or something. And when you're at a
Yeah.
con, everybody has a sewing kit, and they're like, I can fix it, and they're drinking a beer. It's like, okay, we're good. Uh, and so yeah, so that's how it is.
Yeah. Well, clearly the solution to that is just have a car Sona, and then you'll know exactly how to fix it
Oh
every
Oh
yeah.
yeah,
time. I think
yeah. If
that,
someone
yeah,
was
clearly.
my persona is a front bench seat of a 1958 Plymouth Fury.
would fuck with. That sounds amazing. And I absolutely love that. I'll actually give full credit though. It's like, I tend to guess at Punk fairly a lot because I think he's, fairly credible with all those characters and whatnot. But we roomed together at FWA this year, and I remember this like there was something wrong with I think it was like one of the hand paws or something like that. He's like, oh, hold on one second, and he had a sewing kit, he had the tape, he had a hot glue gun
Yep.
with him. He is like ready to go. He's like Jonathan Crafty Face. It is like incredible. But it was just like and I was just in awe. Like I could barely struggle to do that, much less bring it. So like just props to you. I was rightly blown away by that. Uh one thing I will say though is that when we started doing this pod, it's like I very specifically have the intention. This is not going to be furry history hour. That's not what I want this to
Yeah.
be. There's people who already do that. We just want to speak to people that we like, that we think are dope, that have interesting stories to say. But as we've kept doing this, I understand that a lot of people have come to this kind of for a little bit more of history or a little bit more of a lesson here, and I kind of then have to pivot sometimes and think about like things that we might assume is just like the regular or the common. So many different furries are coming in through VR, so many different furries are coming through like social media stuff, and so many just engage with it on that level. They don't necessarily know who the guests of honor are or know a lot about the history or the legacy. So I don't want to put too much on you, but I was wondering, just as an explainer for myself too, because I genuinely don't have the largest knowledge base on here, but briefly, how would you describe Dragoneer's legacy?
uh it's a
You don't have to, by the way. I
no,
just want to
no,
point
no.
that
I'm
out.
just trying to put it in the words here because he was not on everybody's best side. Sometimes some people had beef with them, and then they make up, and it was so it wasn't like when you mentioned Dragoneer, it wasn't like everybody loved Dragoneer. I mean, a lot of people did, but there was always
Yeah,
people like, oh, that guy, screw him, kind of thing.
yeah.
And it was always like I hung out with the guy. He was the most genuine guy. I mean, he invited me to his house and his family. We had barbecues together, and he treated me like I was like his brother. And
Mhm.
this was like I met the guy. I just met the guy, and then a few months later, he's like, "Hey, you want to come to a barbecue?" And I was just like, "This is wild." I never really experienced something like that where someone was just like, "Yeah, you're cool, come hang out." And so yeah, he was a real genuine nice guy. Like when it's just he was put in a position sometimes that he had to make some difficult choices, and he was just like I could see him being like really raking himself over the coals over some of these things. So yeah, it was, that's how it is. It's just weird because some people are like, oh, you don't like this guy, and it's when you're on the other side of it, you're like, no, this guy was generally nice. You just misunderstood sometimes.
Yeah. And like I'll be fully real. Like I first became aware of them after their uh RAP notice went out on
Yeah.
the banner of FA, and then I think it was like 1 or 2 weeks later when FA was hacked. And I think there's obviously some people that felt some certain way about it, but as far as I know, it's still been largely jovial experiences from a lot of people that
Oh
I've
yeah.
heard from. Yeah. And to that end too, just like the one other piece of like real nostalgia that I want to go down here. Uh, what was it like meeting Cy Sable?
That was surreal. That was absolutely surreal. Again, it was just the way the internet comes together, and you're just randomly clicking on stuff. And I had been in the fandom for a few years, like I was actually involved with it, like not like going to conventions and things, but where the whole thing with Cy and the prancing skilled hair, I was like, it somehow it flew over my radar. I didn't know because it was the weirdest thing. And then I started watching Changa Husky's videos where he was doing these retro style, like furry types of videos on YouTube. And they're like with these effects that look absolutely amazing. And I'm like, this guy knows what he's doing. This guy's good. And I just messaged him like, hey, I really love your stuff. And he's like, oh yeah, I'm going to be at MFF. Stop by and say, hey. And I'm like, oh, cool. And I meet Changa at MFF, and we're like, oh, and he's there with Cy Sable, and he's just sitting there at the table, like just like an old man reading a newspaper. Like you would walk right past the guy. Like, it wasn't like he was doing anything.
Grandiose.
Yeah. And so we sat at the table that evening. I think it was like a Friday night or something, MFF, for like it was hours. And I started talking with him, and he just like laid it out all for me. Like he goes, oh, we started this thing, with the anime because you couldn't buy the anime, and we were like importing it in. And then some of these people were like, oh, we Baggy Monster Nature. And they're like, oh yeah. And you're like, oh, did you, and then Animal Olympics came on, and he gave me that whole story, how it all just started coming together. And him, like, they're like, hey, we should make some conventions about this and get together. And it was like, you started, you're the guy that started, and you're sitting here just like whatever in the zoo and underneath the escalators at MFF. This is insane. So that was a wild night where I got to hang out with him. And then with lockdown and everything, that was like probably right after that was with like 2020 and everything. And then we were on VR, and I was, actually at the time I was very grateful that I was on as much as I was back then, because Cy was on there. I got to hang out with him even more, with Changa. Even Dragoneer was on there, and he's at the time he lived like maybe 3 or 4 hours from me. It was kind of a pain to get to his house, and I was always like, I'll come down, I'll see you. And I didn't know how sick he was at the time, but I was like, I'll see you. And he's like, yeah. But we would meet on VR, and we'd be hanging out all night, and even with Cy and everything. And so yeah, that was really cool to meet him. It really was.
Nice. Around that time, I think it's like 2019. You posted something a little bit more about your personal life that I thought was interesting, where you said, "quote I can't do the whole furry parent thing. My parents downright believe that furry is a sex cult, and they are convinced that I need psychiatric help. While all I do in this fandom is make people happy and help raise money for charities." You posted that in 2019.
Oh yeah.
Have conditions changed at all?
No. It is
Okay.
to this day. Like I even right now, I haven't told my parents I'm going. I'm 40 something years old. It's
Yeah.
like I can just go do whatever I want. But they're like, where are you going? Where are you going? You're gonna go? You're going to one of those things, And it's coming up with AC, and I'm like, oh, I'm just dreading telling them, like, I'm going. Hey, like next week I'm not going to be here, and then I'll never hear the end of it. And they just swear up and down it's some type of weird sex cult, and I need to go see a psychiatrist because I'm wearing a cat costume. And I'm like, it's nothing. I'm performing and doing a thing. I like to be creative. This is a creative outlet for me. It's not like going out and doing like a fentanyl lean in Philly or something like that. It's like it's
Right.
the craziest thing. They think it's the end of the world for them, but I don't know. They're very overprotective, and they worry about me.
But also, like, you've been doing this for how many goddamn years at this
Oh
point?
God,
Like,
since
it's
2009. So what is that?
yeah,
Mm.
That's like 16 years or something.
coming up on 20
Yeah.
at this point. Yeah, no, which is just, I'm very sorry to hear that. But at least you're in communication with them, so that is
Oh
more than I
yeah.
could say
Well, they
for,
live above me, so it's kind of see them
oh,
every day.
oh, well then, okay, that's
I
got
live
to
in
be
a
interesting.
mother-daughter style house, so I have a little apartment that's like a little like tumor on the side of their home, and I live in there.
Oh my goodness. Well, uh, to that end, I will also say that you have posted in some more positive aspects too, where I think it was earlier this year on FurAffinity you posted. I have the mindset that whatever I put out there on the internet has reached its intended audience, and I'll move on to the next thing. And this is just not the case. Personally, it makes me feel lazy to repost something as if I'm unable to create something new. I'm not able, taking into account that there may be people who are just discovering it for me now, or they simply missed something on here. Has What has the experience been like of having your older content sometimes like pop up or, go viral or people kind of discovering you through that? Like it seems that you
Yeah.
are always looking for the something new and you're not going to necessarily play the Coopertom greatest hits, anytime soon. Like, I don't know, that's just the vibe I get.
Yeah, I always feel guilty. I'm like, wow. Like sometimes I'll go back and I'll look at some old videos or something. I'll find something really funny in there, and I'm like, I'd really love to show this to someone, but this has been on here for 15 years. If they haven't found it, well, it's their fault, kind of thing.
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
but I also feel like I don't want to be like, hey guys, look at this thing I made 15 years ago. I'm still relevant. I hate
Mhm.
doing that. So I'm always like, what's the new thing? I got to give you something new. But it's sometimes when I do recycle stuff and I put it out, and so many of your people are like, I've never seen this. Oh my God, this is amazing. And I'm like, what? Really? I'm an idiot. I should show you more things. So
Mhm.
it's just a mess.
Yeah. Is it the kind of thing, and this is kind of an odd thing to ask, but like, do you feel like you have a like solid place in this fandom? Like, do you feel like you're just a participant in it? I know you kind of bristle sometimes the idea that people say that like you're the OG or an OG furry or whatever, but like, do you feel like you're in a state of like still having to prove who you are in it, or are you just, here to have a good time?
It started off, having a good time and everything, and I never thought like there would be people like following stuff that I do in it. I was just like, I'm going to this crazy thing. I want to see all the, just make some jokes and make people laugh. And I
Mhm.
didn't anticipate like people going, oh, I want to see more of this.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's just interesting how it like kind of went that way.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
There was the one thing I will say though is that there's a post that you did fairly recently, like a couple months ago, which I thought was actually quite telling. You said it's a story from your real life, I'm sure, but you said my cousin tried hooking me up with this boss. I was like, who? I was like, who is this random woman? I think she was a couple years older than me, but felt like she was older personality wise. It's really tough to see that spark in people outside the fandom. All seems so tame and boring. I can't deal with that, which very relatable too. But I was really struck by that part. It's really tough to see that spark in people outside the fandom. Is that kind of how you feel a little bit? Like,
It's yeah, no, it's strange because it's like almost when you start going to these conventions, it's almost like an espresso of life where it's so intense and everything, and when you go back from that and
Mhm.
you're just like, oh, what do you do? Oh, my boss let me off 10 minutes early today. Isn't that great? And it's
Mm.
like,
I'll get a McFlurry,
yeah,
like, yeah.
wow, okay, yeah, that's great. And it kind of put like this thing on me. So everything is always like, oh, we can go do this, it'll be fun. And it's like, yeah, we can do that, but like, what if we were like in fursuit and we did that, kind of thing. It's just something like that. And it's just, and it's, you're always trying to like somehow, how do we get furry into whatever this boring situation is? And sometimes you can't, and it's just like, oh.
Mhm. Yeah. It's just so strange because it's like obviously there are, this fandom I think draws sometimes a very particular type of person, but it's also that very particular type of person in like every possible way, shape, and form that you could possibly imagine. I had that feeling very early on in my journey too, where it's just like I felt bad because within like the first like 3 months of like really truly being here and being present, the people that it shoved into my life, I was just like, well, I guess I'm here for the long run. Like it was the thing where I just realized, I truly would be spending the rest of my life like paying back the debt of the amazing people that it shoved in front of me. And that's like still very much true and kind of how I'm like dealing with it to today. But it's also that tough thing too, where I've told other people like I understand the freedom and the release and the power of cons, but also it is of my mindset. And maybe this is ignorant on my front, being so new at this, but like I don't think cons can be the end all and be all that they have to be. Like they're great and they're fantastic. It is a concentrated dose of the good stuff, but like you have to have that stuff in your everyday. If all you're doing is living con to con, I'm not sure if that's really living because all there's so much more time in between, and it's really how do you use that time and make that unique and interesting and special to a degree. Which at least that's kind of my view of it. But
Yeah.
also I think VR helps with that a lot too. Sometimes you'd be told, yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting because the way everything kind of just falls together, the people that you meet in the fandom, because the same thing, I was going in blind, I didn't know anybody, and it just that the two people that lived near me were like turned out to be amazing people and became like my best friends, and like that who were friends with Dragoneer and all this other stuff, and then JD working across the street from me, and it just all like came together like Legos, where it's like, okay, I want to do this, and like here's all the people, everything's just gonna fit. And it was like really scary how some of these coincidences like came together, and it just like that's how it played out. Like there was no other way this could play out. Like because that was how I met one of my best friends, King Gord. I was early on doing things. We were watching furry YouTube videos, and I see this fox guy, blowing up his mom's pot in the backyard and making a crater, and I'm like, this guy's funny. This guy's really funny. I wonder what and like, oh, he lives in Connecticut. He's sort of close by. I'm like,
Yeah.
and then we were getting ready for FAU, the first, FAU 3. And that was going to be my first FAU because I was debuting Fender at that convention. So like we were getting things ready, and I was thinking, because I was on staff and everything, I'm like, okay, do you think this King Gord guy is going to show up? Because he's from Connecticut. He might come to Jersey. He might be here, and I didn't know at the time King Gord was watching my videos going, this guy's really funny. I want to see this guy. And they were like, oh, maybe he's going to be at FAU. And so him and his friend drove down to FAU, and I saw him. I actually heard his voice from the lobby. I didn't even see him. I was walking on a little balcony thing on the second floor, and I just had Fender on. I just put the suit on. It's like minutes old. And I hear this voice, and I'm like, that's King Gord. And I look over the railing, and he's just like in suit, or I don't know if he was in suit or out of suit. And he was, and I was like, stay right there. And I didn't realize he doesn't see my suit. He's seeing Fender. No one's seen Fender yet. So he's like, who the hell is this? And then I came running down. So I came running down the stairs. I'm like, oh my God, are you King Gord? And he's like, yeah. Like, who are you? And I'm like, I know. Okay, I'm Cooper. I'm Coopertom. I watch your videos. Your stuff is amazing. And he's like, oh my God, I was just going to say the same thing. So like that, that's like how everything just fits together like that. It's just wild.
Yeah. It's kismet. It's also the kind of thing that with all those people in such close proximity to you, it's like I almost wonder, like, was it inevitable? Like, it was the kind of thing where it's like, with all these connections that are happening there, was it just like the universe was just waiting for the right time to spring it? Like, it just
happened.
Yeah, it's just so cool. Have you and Skuro ever swapped suits?
Yeah, I think we did. Yeah. I mean, not like it's probably a while. It's been a long time, but whatever it was probably like at a house party or something. Maybe or maybe it was a con. I don't know. I know me and King Gord swap suits. I wore King Gord and he wore Rocket. But we did. I just can't remember off the top of my head exactly what.
Because I remember there was a time when we had Yippee on. I remember at one of the cons he swapped suits with someone else, and I'm just like, well, if you're doing it like at a con, I wonder what that experience would be of like trying to inhabit someone else's well-known character. Like I wasn't sure if that, like if it's at a party or something, I think there's a lot less pressure on that kind of thing. But like if you're doing it at like a more of a long-term scale, I was just always wondering. But yeah,
well, yeah, I swapped suits with Yippee. With Twilight, he wore Rocket.
And that's right. That was the story. Yeah.
And
how was that?
That was really fun. That was like, I think that was the first time I ever suit swapped before. And so, he's doing
Twilight's a vibe, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like in Twilight, and I'm like trying to do like all this like very flamboyant moves, and I'm just like not doing a good job. And so people are like, Twilight, what's wrong with you? So And then
Twilight, are you drunk?
yeah.
Yeah.
So, but it was fun. It was pretty fun.
That's awesome. Uh, what, of course, outside of like fursuiting and outside of cars, I think one of your other large passions in this world is old technology.
Oh yeah.
You have a lot of things. You have a lot of synthesizers, which you've shown off on occasion too. You've also even made more than a few music videos at this point. But as far as I can tell, correct me if I'm wrong, you've never put out an album proper.
No, no, there. I guess the whole like shyness thing also carries over musically. I guess because I just like to
Mm,
noodle and just be in my zone with the headphones on or something, just making these songs and making things sound cool. Like, oh, that sounds really cool. Ooh, I like this chord,
yeah.
you know. But for me to like play in a band or something, I think I would just totally choke. I couldn't do it. I really couldn't do it.
Mm,
Because Skuro even was like, "Hey, you want to, be the keyboardist?" And I'm like, "Man, I don't think I can do it."
mhm.
So, but yeah, I definitely like the collect vintage synthesizers, and it's kind of like a one because I love old technology, I love music, and I was like, here's old technology, techno music, and I get to like fix them and stuff like that. That's how I get all these really nice synths pretty cheap because I buy them all broken.
Hell yeah. Yeah, of course, in LA, there's of course the Vintage Synthesizer Museum. If you've not been, I'm not
Oh, I
sure.
heard of it and never, yeah.
Yeah, I interviewed the band Magdalena Bay there a while ago, where it's just like we were working with them, and it was just like, can we just meet there? I've never been; it'd be fun to be there. And so, like, I have this interview where they're like, I kind of walking around, but it's also half of the interview is interrupted by them fucking around with synthesizers. So terrible, terrible for interview audio, but it was a good time. It was a vibe.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. We've been talking for a hot minute here. Before obviously we had every main episode with our rapid fire Q&A session, but Pug, we've covered a lot of ground already. What am I missing? Are there any other burning questions we need to fire off?
No, no, I'm just kind of like listening because I know Cooper, you were talking about like sheds and stuff and talk about like how you met like King Gord, and I remember the video you mentioned with King Gord about blowing up the pot and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because I again like I joined around the same time you did back in
Yeah.
like '09 or 10.
Yep.
I think I remember when you mentioned sheds.
Oh,
I think the
10.
very first video I saw of you as sheds was the Honda CRV video, which was
Oh
really
yeah.
fucking funny. And then it just kind of pivoted from there. And I remember watching your like live streams when you were like doing streams as I think Rocket or whatever in your place or doing like synthesizer stuff.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
back when like live streaming was still kind of new, I guess.
It was I think there was some weird feature like you could put it through Twitter or something. Or
Yeah.
I don't even remember what platform it was, but I was like, this works. This actually works. I can put this link in here. People can see this,
Yeah.
And
Oh, it was oh, what was that? I can remember like so like something TV. I can't remember. It was
TV.io or something. Yeah, it was.
something like that.
Yeah.
I can see the logo in my head. And I think they changed the name now to something else, but that's I think that's how it was. I think you just used to post on like Twitter. It was like, "Hey, I'm like doing shit." But
Well,
yeah.
if that's all there is, in that case, all I could say is that Cooper, I'd say get if you're ready, get steel up yourself for the rapid fire round as we close things out. Are you ready, sir?
Yes.
Okay, as much as you could ever be. Understood. Okay, here we go. Pause or Moz.
Oh, Moz.
All right. Dream car, make and model.
BMW M1.
Okay. Kirk or Picard.
Uh, Kirk. I don't know.
Okay. Briefly, what do you have against potatoes?
Their eyes. They see too much.
Very, very fair, very fair. Which Amazing Digital Circus character do you most personally identify as?
Oh, that's a toss up. I did the test, and the test says I align with Kinger, but at the same time, I
Uh-huh.
really like Jax. A
You
Kinger
can,
Jax.
a Kinger with Jack's Rising, so maybe potentially.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. This is the new horoscope, everyone. Uh, what are the best of the Matrix sequels?
Ah man, I'm just old fat. First one. That's it. I don't need any of the other ones. I'm good.
Okay, good. Correct answer. I would have accepted Animatrix as a potential one, but I totally understand. Absolutely. What was the text of your Adult Swim bumper?
Oh God, it was like, because they were doing a bunch with like Latin Vixen, and it was something like, "Hey, did you hear?" Like, and it would just be like the first title, and then it was like Coopertom's going or something, because they got wind that FWA was going to be there.
Yeah.
And someone sent it to me, and it was like, this is back, I don't know, again, 2011, 2012. So it was on a potato, and I'm looking at it like on my PDA,
How dare they?
my BlackBerry, and I'm like, oh my God,
Yeah.
there it is. I see it. It's legit. Like, Cartoon Network knows of my existence. This is amazing.
Oh.
I can die happy,
In fucking incredible, truly. All-time best furry rave you went to?
Oh, best rave. Oh man. Actually, not this year, the year before, when it was Anthracon's Carnival or something like that. It was with the roller coaster and everything, and that backdrop with all the lights and everything. That was insane. That setup was ridiculous.
Okay, nice. And finally, last but not least, now that you've been through the gauntlet, if you were to pick a guest for this podcast, who would you recommend we speak to?
I'd say Skuro, because he's on another level.
Yeah. He recently posted there's like, hey, it looks like Blue Sky has 10 photos now, and I'm just like, oh, I've heard that he's a wacky photographer, and so like I'm scrolling through his photos, it's like, here he is in suit, oh, that's cool. Here he is at a party, and like one of the heads is hanging off the thing, oh, that's cool. Here he is tied spread eagle to a bed. I'm like, oh, well, that's interesting. Like, it's just like, he is just truly an original, fully all the way straight through. But yeah, I think we'd love to get him. I think that'd be absolutely fantastic. Well, Coopertom, thank you so much for being here, truly.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, where can people find you if they want to find you?
I'm on Blue Sky. Damn, it's like someone asking your phone number, and I'm like, I don't know what it is. It's just Coopertom on there.
Yeah.
Also just Coopertom on YouTube, just Coopertom on FA.
Yeah.
I still have a Twitter account, but it's not really active anymore. But that's at the Coopertom, because someone had Coopertom, so I had to be the Coopertom.
How dare they? Well,
yeah,
it's Twitter,
that's
so
about
who cares?
it.
Exactly, you're right.
Also on Twitch
cool.
as Coopertom.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. Well, let me just say again, thank you so much for being here. It's always a pleasure. We hope you stick around for the after hours episode right after this. But if y'all listening could do us the kindest thing, if you like what you're hearing, give us a follow on whatever platform you're listening to it on. Give us a review if you can. It seems silly. It seems stupid. That thing kind of helps us get out there. We're doing this out of the love of it. And most importantly, we will catch you next time, everybody. Thank you so much for listening. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.